Joining us for this week's Chalk Talk, sponsored by the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan, is the head coach of the Frankenmuth Eagles, Andy Donovan. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great, guys. Good to be with you today.
All right, great. And thank you so much. You are also a BCAM regional director. And I just want to talk about it right off the top, a little bit about the idea of the one-team program, why it was something, worthwhile to do. What's the mission of this, Coach?
Yeah, I think from a BCAM perspective, especially with what we as a society have been dealing with for the past couple of years, there's just something beautiful about the game that we all love that brings people together. So, and certainly that's why we're all involved in it, whether it's media, coaching, and playing it. There's a family atmosphere, and so much good comes from the game of basketball. So I think we just wanted to kind of double down on that and bring some positivity to a world that really needs a lot of that right now.
Agree wholeheartedly. Let's get into your background a bit. Basketball is in your blood. Even your wife was a hoop star, right, at Freeland High School, won a state title in the late 90s. You coached at Langsburg, came to Frankenmuth in 2010, I believe.
That's correct. Yep.
Talk a little bit about your journey, perhaps as a player growing up.
So my upbringing, I will say playing basketball, since I was, 7, 8 years old. As I got older, I will tell you sort of the reality of knowing that I wasn't going to be a professional basketball player, definitely set in. And I knew even in high school I wanted to coach. I started coaching 5th and 6th grade travel teams, even when I was a varsity player in high school, 15, 16 years old. Yes, my wife is the more acclaimed player in the couple. She played 4 years of varsity at Freeland High School. Actually played 12 years of varsity sports, period. Volleyball, basketball, softball. Won a state title in 98 with Freeland. We met actually at Siena Heights, small college basketball players at Siena Heights.
Yeah.
So, that's been great. This will be 17 years of marriage for us this year, and 2 beautiful daughters. But anyways, back to basketball. Yes. So, and then after graduating, kind of finding my way, getting into the professional world, I don't teach. I'm the director of human resources at Frankenmuth Insurance here in Frankenmuth, Michigan. So, I ended up getting into coaching. I grew up in Fowlerville, Michigan. And besides coaching travel, I got my first taste of coaching from a guy, actually my neighbor. His name is Fred Hackett. He's since passed. Awesome guy. Grew up with his boys and his daughter. And he wanted me to, after I graduated college, coach the middle school with him. I did that for a year. Ended up moving away, got into my professional life, and then got reconnected at Langsburg, through whom I would consider my coaching mentor, who is Greg Mitchell. He's the head men's coach now at Hope College. So he was at Langsburg for, 25, 27 years, something like that. He got the job right after he graduated from Hope. So I spent 4 years with him as his JV coach, and that was just a great education in basketball for me. I was commuting from the Lansing area to Frankenmuth for work at the time and coaching in Langsburg. We were living in St. John's. Really cool, kind of a God thing. Frankenmuth job ended up opening up. Great opportunity. And so I've been in Frankenmuth ever since 2010. This is my 12th year. Love it here and really, really blessed to be coaching in Frankenmuth.
You won 70% of your games since you've been there. BCAM Executive Director Dan Young had to have me ask you about your famous 1-3-1 zone defense. So for the coaches out there watching or listening, talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I would say this, like getting back to Coach Mitchell a little bit, I was brought up on, good man-to-man principles. That's how I started here in Frankenmuth. I ended up really kind of adopting the philosophy, how do we beat the best teams on our schedule? Currently, Bridgeport and Saginaw High are both in our district. For a number of years, Flint Northwestern was. They had some really good teams when they were in our district. One year we upset them. They were, I think, the 3rd or 4th ranked team in the state. So we had some really tough matchups. I inevitably started, my best players would be getting in foul trouble, or all the prep that would go into guarding some tough teams with, maybe we had some really, really big matchup problems or they just ran really good stuff. So just kind of the evolution of things, I wanted to, how can I try to even the playing field? And, that from that was kind of born what I'm now. Everybody always kind of associates it with me, which is sort of cool. But yeah, so now we're kind of known for our 1-3-1, which we do a lot of different things with. It's been a really good thing for us, and now it's definitely a staple. I mean, when you're playing Frankenmuth, you're going to get some zone looks, and we try to be disruptive and be a little unique to prepare for. Kind of like the Syracuse of, in college basketball. I guess that's Frankenmuth in our area.
Mm. Well, there you go. Well, let's talk about Frankenmuth. You got as far as the district title a year ago, lost to the eventual state semifinalists in Bridgeport, who you mentioned. TJ's here to talk this year's version of the Eagles, who at the time of this recording, you're preparing to take on Flint Hamady. And you're 8-2 overall, 6-1 in the Tri-Valley Conference 8. TJ.
Hey, how you doing, Coach? And talk about the defense. One thing that I've talked with when I've talked with coaches from Syracuse and I've talked with the past regime at Eastern Michigan who had Rob Murphy, one thing that they always like to talk about was that we know what we're going to do on defense, and you have to more react to what we're doing. And so it kind of makes those guys think, that much more on offense while you get the setback on defense. You know that you've got to move as one unit and a lot of shell drill and stuff like that, just making sure that, that everybody's on the same page. But yeah, I think that being able to go with the standard, but then it allows you to focus on the important things as far as scoring, which is obviously have been successful with 70% of your wins. What are some of the other things that you're looking forward to, when you're getting into playoffs and the preparation that you have throughout the season?
Yeah, I would say, again, I think we tried to play a pretty tough non-conference to get us ready for the district. The playoffs in Michigan are unique. I mean, we always try to start with listen, 20 games says a lot more about you than 1 or 2 games. So we really try to win our league and have a great regular season. There's a number of things I'm a huge proponent of in terms of changes. I'm all for the shot clock. I'm all for seeding the tournament. Those sort of things I think would just continue to help Michigan basketball a couple more games. So to that end, you want to play some tough competition and do well in the regular season because, we're not in a district where, there are some teams that maybe don't play the same kind of caliber and can still win a district title every year. Up in our area with Saginaw getting ready to be Saginaw United in a couple years. So Saginaw High is playing Division II now. Us and Bridgeport are in the same league, so we're beating up on each other twice a year, and then we usually play each other for a district title every year, it seems like. And they're a great program as well and have had a nice run of talent in the past 3-4 years. So, we're just trying to get ready to see what we can do in the postseason. But I would say we also have a focus of, we do want to have a good regular season and hopefully compete and win league titles. I think that says a lot about what you can do as a team over the course of 20 games.
Without a doubt. I think that, that 20 games, I would definitely love to see that expanded to 22, 24. And I think the other thing is, if you have a program that doesn't want to play 22 games, then, really nobody's forcing your arm to go ahead and do that. I think that's one of the misleading things about the expanding of the games. And there are, obviously, if you've got injuries and stuff like that, it just makes it easier. Maybe, hey, you know what, we need to drop this game. We don't want to play back-to-back, or, and the other team says, yeah, you know what, we're a little bit banged up as well. And so then it doesn't seem like you're short, your kids are getting a short stick by only playing 17 games or 16 games because injuries do happen. And I think that it gives you guys a little bit of flexibility. I also think that what we had last year with the shortened season, it showed that you can play 15 games from the beginning of February or the second, halfway through the second week of February, about right now, through let's see, middle of March. So if you add all of January and add all of December, then I don't think that we should have a problem, reaching that. And greatly appreciate you being a voice for what we will hopefully have here in Michigan.
Yeah, we're trying. I think, making the game better is something we all should be committed to and care about. And, I care about Of course, I care about the Frankenmuth Eagles, but I care about the game and Michigan basketball. And there are some differences state to state. And I think, the more we improve our game, the better it is for our kids. And that's ultimately what we're in it for. So.
Who are some of the guys on your team this year that you go to your guys? Who are they this season? Maybe give a couple shout outs.
Well, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I would say I might have to spend longer on this than some teams. Frankenmuth, we're at our school, we are a strong athletic school in almost every sport. So our athletes are playing 2, 3 sports all the time. So I don't have like the standout guy that is, in the Mr. Basketball watch list or that sort of thing, but I have a lot of good athletes that are also good football players, good track kids, good baseball guys. We have a lot of balance on our team. I think right now I have four guys averaging between 9.5 and 11 points a game. And then we have several others, and we play a 9-man rotation with this year's group. And I think everybody is basically 5 to 11 a game. So I have 2 3-year players, Nate Jackson and Cole Jankowski. They've been up since they were sophomores. Cole's an all-state safety. Nate is our big guy inside, and he's really come along in his 3 years, doing a nice job for us. I have the next 2 guys in terms of scoring the next 3. Drew Titsworth, who is already committed to U of M for baseball. He's a heck of a pitcher. He's got a rocket launcher for a right arm, but he's a good hooper too, good football player. He's at about 10 a game. Travis Brenner, who's one of our point guards, and he's at right around 9. And then Trent Chesla is right around 9 as well, and he's a guard. And then we got a lot of other guys contributing too, though. We got a couple sophomores, Riley Hubbard and Carson Knoll, that are contributing. Floyd Atwood does a great job for us with a lot of little things defensively. And so those are the 9 guys in our rotation. But I mean, we also, like every good team, we got guys like Adam Spiro and Christian Wenberg and Jared Jones that are great teammates that are working their tails off in practice, even though they don't get a ton of time in games. So I really like our guys this year. It's a fun group.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the fact, in high school, it's a great situation when you can rotate 9. And guys can get their opportunities. And when you do that on a consistent basis, well, when guys do invariably get injured or, again, in this world we live in, have to be quarantined for whatever reason, you've got guys with significant playing time. One final question I do have is, and you've already alluded to it, which is great, and it's kind of a mission that we're doing this year, is talking about your thoughts on the shot clock, because we have had several trials this season again. We would like to see it implemented in Michigan high school basketball, and it's always great to have coach's perspective on that.
Yeah, you bet. I do got to say one thing. I left out my guy Aiden Horde when I was going through my guys. I don't want to leave him out. He's doing great. He's a junior as well. But in terms of the shot clock, again, we just talked about kind of the schedule and what makes the game better. Maybe the shot clock is a little less about kids, but I think there's something like 11 or 12 states that are doing it. I know a lot of the arguments against it, but the reality is it just makes the game better. I mean, we all have been part of those games where people hold the ball early, maybe to take a team out of their defense, or maybe it is just, on the worst case scenario where teams are just flat out stalling the whole time. They should refund everybody's money when that happens. Just not the way the game's meant to be played.
Right.
You look at games in the fourth quarter, where what's the difference in winning them, right? Like instead of starting to sit on the ball when you have a lead with 4 or 5 minutes left, there's a lot more time left to make plays and finish the game. There comes a lot in terms of strategy, in terms of, your offense versus, what do we do in late clock situation, just quality of game, the way the shot clock improves it. A lot of people get concerned about style. The reality is the shot clock makes every style different. If I want to play a sagging pack line kind of man defense or a soft zone, I can do that. If I want to play, pressure man, I can do that, and I don't have to play defense for 2 minutes straight. So I could go probably a long time with you guys, and it sounds like we're probably like-minded, but I'm all for the shot clock, and I really hope to see it get done real soon. I think it's going to benefit the game in a great way.
Hey, I'm ecstatic about what you're saying about the shot clock. I will also say that I think I'm pretty sure that every high school coach watches college basketball. They watch the NBA where there is a shot clock. And I know that when I'm watching sports that I played or that, have maybe thought about coaching and stuff like that, you always get to strategize and in your own mind. And so I don't think that it's something that is so foreign that, you're just springing something along. It's not like you're raising the rim to 11 feet or you're moving the three-point line back to 25 feet. Right. But then you also talk about the excitement that a shot clock can bring in. And one thing that I see as, being more of a gate revenue kind of thing is you're going to get more people that are going to come in and watch games. If I'm looking through and I'm seeing that, the local team is scoring, winning 30-25, that's not something that's really going to grab my attention. Now, if they're scoring 60, if the scores are 65-60, and you're getting 15, 20 points a quarter per team, then it just makes it that much more exciting. It's more of a microwave in a microwave society. I think that the shot clock is definitely the way to go. I know we goofed about Hoosiers before the broadcast started, but it's the four corners. There's a reason why the NCAA got rid of went to the shot clock. Hats off to Dean Smith, but at the same time, it's one of those things where basketball is, while there are a lot of instructional tools as far as being able to develop young boys into men and young girls into women, just being strategizing about how to live life. The shot clock is something that we should definitely have here, and I think it's just going to benefit everybody.
Yep, I think it's a matter of time, hopefully. So yeah, it'll be a great change. I'm looking forward to seeing that, and like I say, after that, hopefully some seeding comes and increased games, and I don't know what order I'd take that in, guys. I might go shot clock first, then increase games, then seeding. But those last two, it's kind of a toss-up. But the shot clock for me, out of those three proposed changes that we've been talking about a while, that's the one that's got to come first, and that'll benefit everybody.
Agreed. We are on the same page. Well, Coach Donovan, thank you so much for coming on Hangtime. Thanks again for all you do for basketball in the state of Michigan, both with Frankenmuth and with BCAM. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Okay,
Thanks,
we'll see you.